Martin, how are you?
I'm all right, Mike. I'm all right.
So our passage for this week, we're in Epiphany 3, and we're looking at John 2, 1 to 11, the wedding feast at Cana, Jesus turning water into wine. What are you thinking?
Well, so this is another one of these ancient lectionary texts. So we're in this season of a whole cascade of beginnings. So we've got the birth of Jesus, we've got the Epiphany, we've got Jesus' baptism, we've got the call of the first disciples, we've got the wedding at Cana, the first miracle. And these have been texts which, from the earliest years, as far as we can tell, in the church's observance of this season, these are the texts that have been drawn on. And so there's something here about beginning and about revelation. And if we remember, just casting back last week, we had Nathanael, who is from Cana, and he's told by Jesus, when he said, "Oh goodness, you are the Son of God," and Jesus said, "Just because you saw me under the fig tree, you're saying that. You will see the angels ascend and descend." And what we've got in the wedding of Cana are the angels ascending and descending, revealing the truth of the Son of Man. And so the focus, although we always focus on the wine, the focus is Jesus, is who is being revealed here, and his glory is being revealed. So that's the core of it. But of course, we do think about the wine. We think about this huge quantity. It would have been a miracle to convert one glass of water into wine, but this is gallons and gallons and gallons of it in these jars used for ritual purification. So there is something there going on about how Jesus, with great exuberance and generosity, is replacing the ways in which one was purified, the ways in which you accessed God. That access is now with joy and exuberance, is direct with Jesus. So there's something going on there, and I suppose, and I know you will rib me for this, but I just thinking, and maybe this is where my buoyancy comes from, just thinking about and being really surprised in myself about how the inauguration of Joe Biden lifted my spirits, and indeed, it seems lifted the spirits of many people across the US and across the world. There's something about moving from a state that is based on fear and I would say hatred, based on alienation and estrangement and division, to one who, at least in his opening words, is talking about unity and expansion and generosity and welcome. And there is that same sense for me as I look at this miracle, that Jesus is saying to us, we all are very good at getting bogged down in our sort of meanness and our mean-spiritedness, in that which reduces us. And I've come that you be expanded, and expanded by the generosity of God's love, exhibited by this profusion of wine. So it's that, I mean, for me, a very tangible experience of that, which enables me to say, and of course, Joe Biden's a good Catholic, so there is a Christian spirit in him that is being offered.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with it. I'm thinking about it though. So when I think of this that transition, as you say, it's really interesting, because I think when I think of the wedding at Cana of Galilee, I think of joy. I remember when I was a lay worker in South London before I was ordained, and there was a vicar up the road from the church that I was at, whose name was Barry Grimster. But we nicknamed him Grim Barry because of the nature of his sermons, which were all about kind of like enduring the suffering and carrying the cross and all of that. And while there's a place for that in the Christian life, you know, if you are evacuated of joy, you have missed something at the very center. And there's something about the wedding at Cana in Galilee, the first of Jesus' signs that Jesus is doing here, showing the extravagance of God in enabling the party which you thought was over just to be getting started here.
Yeah.
And some people translate this in as saying, oh, I know what we need to do with the wedding at Cana in Galilee. We must take the ordinary water of our lives and transform it into wine by such practices as paying attention, having the eyes of wonder and gratitude, and appreciating the giftedness, the easily missed extraordinariness of the day and the strangeness of reality in front of us. And I kind of get that, but as you've just said, actually there's more to this, because the joy isn't about me getting a better experience. It's not about me having a good time or me tasting fine wine. The joy is focused on Jesus.
Yeah.
Revealed his glory, and the disciples believed in him. I mean, and that's where we can get confused, I think, with worldly joy, where the focus is on an emotional high that I have, a buzz that I get, a feeling fine. But the joy in the gospel is always focused on Jesus. Even earlier in John's gospel, you've got, in this world, you'll have trial and tribulation, but rejoice. I have overcome the world. I have overcome the world. Or at the ascension, you know, they see Jesus taken up, and instead of thinking, oh, flipping heck, we've been abandoned, flipping heck, we've got to go back to Jerusalem, where actually we're associated with this criminal and in fear of our lives, they returned with joy.
Yeah.
Because their joy is focused on this person. And somebody like Thomas Merton says, you know, most of us aren't ready for this kind of joy. But unless we're willing to surrender and focus on a joy beyond the fickle friends that we normally rely on for our joy, we won't really get to the depths of the joy that is offered here.
And I think for me, there is something about the because it is gift. You know, it is not, if you pursue this practice of paying attention, then you will experience joy. I mean, that's a Pelagian approach to all of this. But it is gift, and it comes to us in surprise, which is why I think I was surprised by what I was feeling last night. But that gift comes from God, and for me, it takes us so far beyond our atheistic secularism to say the reality is actually about the generosity, the profusion of joy, which is beyond our reach. It can only be gift.
Yeah, and that point about it being beyond our reach, it's so I don't think it's any accident that it's just as people think the party's over. We see Jesus producing the wine. Everything is that we think has now been lost. No, it's not. There's a new beginning here. And that, of course, is part of the central story of Christianity. We irreversibly mess up in crucifying the Son of God. And in the very place where we've messed up, precisely there, what we think was lost, we discover God's generous, immense, extravagant love in his Son. So it's a kind of, it's not, this isn't a joy just for the good times. This is the experience of a joy which is unmatched in its ability to transform even the darkest moments when we are at the end of our tethers. Yeah.
We can draw all sorts of connections with that.
Yeah, absolutely. But typical of John, isn't it? That, you get all sorts of illusions coming out of it. Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.